Welcome everybody, this is How to English, Teach and Learn with Gav and Em.
It's a podcast about teaching and learning English as a foreign language.
All opinions stated are personal and references will be given when necessary. I think I can hear an aeroplane, Em.
Can you? Oh, Gav, did you say you can hear an aeroplane?
I think I did. Why?
Well, that's what we're here to talk about today.
Episode 24, Articles.
Why? Why is it an aeroplane?
Because it's a singular countable noun.
But what about the aeroplane you were talking about, Gav?
Well, the aeroplane has gone now, and I think it's because it's the second time I've mentioned it.
Aha. So we've already talked about it and we know which one we're talking about. So it's a specific aeroplane. It becomes definite.
I'll use the definite article to describe it the second time, not the indefinite article, which is
Or an for aeroplane.
An aeroplane.
Or airplane, I guess they say in America.
Or plane. If they're lazy.
So it changes, doesn't it? If it's a plane or an aeroplane or an airplane. That's interesting too.
It is, and I think that's something we're going to cover in today's episode.
And
We've already started. We can't go back again.
All right.
How would you like to begin, Em? Because this is a topic that we have so far avoided on Gav and Em's How to English Teach and Learn with Gav and Em.
Because it's a bottomless pit, Gav.
I think when you start digging down into the rules of articles, you find that your footing becomes rather loose due to those exceptions.
Those rocks, those pebbles that are in the ground that trip you up, as we've talked about with our metaphors. There are a lot of stones we'll call exceptions.
Shall we leave them unturned?
No, we need to turn, what's the expression? We need to...
Leave no stone unturned.
That's the one. We need to leave no stone unturned. But, Gav, before we get into the different uses of articles, I think we should introduce today's guest, who is Shikha, and she's going to give us an overview of how to use a, an, and the.
Yes, that's right, Em. On Shikha's Instagram, you can find regular videos explaining the differences between similar and confusing words, prepositions, pronunciation, and everyday words. On her YouTube channel, she's sharing video lessons for all levels, from beginner to upper levels, covering grammar, vocabulary, and functional language, like what to say at a restaurant or talking about your hobbies. She also has a short video course for web app developers to improve their English. So we'll put Shikha's links in our show notes.
But today she's talking to us all about articles.
Hi, today we are going to talk about articles. So there are two types of articles, indefinite articles and definite articles. What are indefinite articles? Indefinite articles are those which do not point to any particular noun, and a and an are the articles which we use as indefinite articles. Definite article, the, the. We use the to point out a particular noun. Now, when to use a and an? There are some rules which you should know before using the article a. Yes? So, before you use the article a, you need to know whether the noun before which you are using the article a, that noun is singular and common noun, as well as whether it begins with a consonant sound. Yes, mind here, I'm not telling consonant letter, I'm telling that consonant sound. Yes, for example, this is a laptop. So when I say laptop starts with the letter L and the sound is also a consonant sound. Yes, and that is why we are using a before laptop. This is a laptop. Next example is, do you have a 1 rupee coin? Yes, so here there is a check. Do you have a 1 rupee coin. So when I am saying 1, O is a vowel, right? But then before that I am using the article a. Instead I should have used a and an, but I have used a. Because when I am pronouncing 1, the sound of wo, that is W sound, is coming. And that is why we have used a 1 rupee coin. In the same way, before using the article an, you should check whether the noun is singular, common noun, and it begins with a vowel sound. For example, she bought an ink pot. Yes, so when I am saying ink pot starts with the letter I. I is a vowel that we know, but then it is also starting with a vowel sound E. Ink point. Yes, next example, an enemy. An enemy. So again, enemy is starting with a vowel sound, a vowel letter E, and the sound is also of a vowel sound. Yes, an enemy attacked the kingdom. And what about the third example? He is an honest man. So what is the spelling of honest? That is HONEST. Honest, right? Actually the pronunciation is honest, but we are pronouncing it as honest as H is silent. So as H is silent, that is why we have to use the article an here.
That is a really good explanation and overview of the articles, definite and indefinite, plus the pronunciation rules.
And I guess when you're speaking, it feels kind of natural, even though you need to learn this. An apple.
A banana.
I think it gets quite hard when you see it written down sometimes because you don't always recognise the sound of the word.
That is absolutely true because those consonant letters might not be consonant sounds. So I think Shikha really explained that very well. There will be more from Shikha later, a special feature from some students, Em.
Ooh, feature within a feature. So it's student and teacher. Something special's coming up.
I am so excited, but you have to wait. You have to hold your horses. It's coming later. First of all, Em, let's consider the vowel sounds. Not the vowel letters, not A, E, I, O, U, but A, E, I, O, U. And the consonant letters would be
B, C, D, F, G, and so on.
But the consonant sounds would be
B, K, D, F, and so on.
So, what's our rule we need to remember?
We use A before a consonant and an before a vowel, but it depends on the pronunciation of the word, not just the spelling. I can see lots of pieces of paper, Gav, in the middle of the table. I'm sensing that's something you've been involved in.
Well, I visited one of my favourite grammar books, which is called How English Works, and it was published by Oxford University Press. It's a big, yellow, beautiful book and full of grammar exercises that you can do at home if you're a student, or you can share with your students if you're a teacher. Now, I've cut up lots of nouns. Em, I want you to identify whether we use a or an before these nouns.
Right, so they're all on separate pieces of paper. I'm going to choose the first one. Elephant. This is easy. An elephant.
An elephant, because it's the sound, which is a vowel or consonant sound.
There's a vowel sound. An elephant.
Correct.
Can we not take turns, Gav?
I will do the next one if you would like me to.
Go on then.
Let's have a look. University. University. Should we pause so the followers can decide whether it's a or an?
Pausing.
Time's up. A university.
Ooh, why is that?
Because that's a consonant sound, which is U.
Yeah.
University. Y sound.
Oof. Yeah, hard, isn't it? Next one. 1 hour. A 1 hour lesson. A 1 hour lesson. Because it's that w, not, does it looks like an O, but it sounds like a w. A 1 hour lesson.
You got it. How about putting that word into a sentence for us then?
Tomorrow I have a 1 hour lesson in the morning.
Not an 1 hour lesson.
No, I have a 1 hour lesson in the morning.
That's very good. My turn. Honest man. Honest man.
This was Shikha's example.
I am an honest man.
Are we putting them in sentences now?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I really wanted to do that one. Honest, as Shikha said, watch out for those silent H's. So not honest, but honest with the O sound, the vowel sound.
And that's coming back to my 1 hour lesson. That's hard, isn't it? Because if I said I have an hour lesson, then it's an hour, silent H, an hour. But I have a 1 hour lesson. You have to change it.
Look out for those tricky words.
Last one for me. Underpass. So this is the true vowel sound that goes with the vowel spelling. So it's an underpass. And I think it's worth mentioning how connected it is. An underpass. It really sounds like one word, doesn't it?
It does sound like one word.
So I use an underpass every time I walk to work.
Because you're saying an underpass.
An underpass.
An underpass.
Like a subway. I use an underpass.
That is a very good sentence. Is it true?
No. Your turn, Gav.
My last one. Oops. X-ray. X-ray. I'm going to guess that that's an X-ray. M.
Even though the letter is a clear X at the beginning, Gav.
If I look at that word, I think, that looks like a consonant to me. But you know what, Em? I know that it's pronounced X. And that's a vowel sound. X-ray. So last week I didn't have an X-ray.
That's a good week. Every week where you have no X-rays is a good week. So, Gav, this really highlights what I was saying about the spelling and the sound. You have to be really careful because it's actually quite hard to say X-ray. It just sounds weird, doesn't it? X-ray. But when you're writing something, you don't hear it. You're looking at the letters and you probably think, oh, it's X, so I'll do an A. So it's something to think about, not just speaking, but writing as well.
That is true. And I say to my students, just say it. If you just say it aloud, then you might realise it doesn't sound quite right saying a X-ray. And instead you should say an X-ray. For more pronunciation practice, visit Season 3's Episode 21, How to Sound, and also Episode 5, How to Say It with Rasul and Toktam, plus Season 1, Episode 13, How to Speaking, where we cover many pronunciation tips and tricks. Em, in your opinion, what's a good way to teach and learn articles?
Very good question. I still haven't quite found the perfect way, I don't think. I've tried a lot of different techniques and I've tried mixing and matching. But I think ultimately you need to have the articles in context, in sentences, and demonstrate in a way that the students can hear when it sounds right or wrong. So I've started to basically do a lot of listening exercises. Does this sentence sound okay or not? And then maybe mix in some of the rules, because there are a lot of rules, but just going through the rules in one big lump as one lesson, just all the rules together, it's overwhelming. I don't think anybody can really absorb it, remember it. So I think it's a little bit like of a drip technique with me, just constantly reminding students what the rules are maybe, as well as correcting, as well as listening to each other and wondering if that sounds right or not. What about you?
I think it's fairly similar for me, but I've noticed a lot of the activities that I do with my students are probably not focused explicitly on articles. So we might read something, we might listen to something, we might have a conversation about something, and it won't be really focused on when to use articles, which articles to use or not to use articles, but instead just to raise awareness of when they should be used.
So it's more of an organic thing, just introduced by the by kind of thing, when you're already doing something else. That's an interesting one.
But of course, if my students miss an article, I will shout at them and say, you mean you're a doctor. You work in a hospital.
How does it sound to you when they miss the articles out?
Oh, it's painful. It hurts me. It makes me cringe.
But you understand what they mean.
I do.
That's always the defence of students, isn't it? Oh, well, you know what I mean. It's not like you really need that article to understand what I'm saying. But then I say, yeah, you do need it. Because if you say, I'm a manager, or I'm the manager, or I'm manager.
My name is Manager. Nice to meet you.
Sounds weird, really weird. And then I'm a manager, I'm one of many managers, or I'm the manager, I'm the only one. It tells you so much. So I need to always give examples and explain why. Why are they important? And then maybe the students will start to think about it and realise, yes, I do need to think about this. Because a lot of the time they see it as a little word that really isn't important.
Mm-hmm. It might not be in their language, and you're right, they don't understand why it's so important. If we talk about these lists of rules for articles, we might say the definite article the is used with specific countable and uncountable nouns, or when you mention something again. But of course, you need to take into account superlative degrees of adjectives like the biggest, or if you're playing a musical instrument, you might play the guitar, or you talk about a newspaper, it's the Economist. But how many of these rules can you actually remember?
Honestly, Gav, I'm sorry, I switched off about 2 minutes ago. It's just so much to do and think about, and then you get into geographical locations.
Oh, and we're definitely coming back to geographical features.
Is it the Thames? Why is it the Thames, but it's Lake Geneva?
Oh.
It's a
Minefield.
nightmare. Oh. It's a minefield in a nightmare wrapped up in trouble. So how are we going to deal with it today?
We could look at some of the more common uses of definite and indefinite articles, or we could just play lots of games.
Play lots of games. Play lots of games. Let's do that. Let's do that. Because we've had so many lessons of the rules and all the ways you should and shouldn't. Let's see if it can be a bit more spontaneous.
Well, I decided to do exactly that with my students today. And I said to them, we can sit here, we can go through all the rules, but I'm pretty sure you've heard a lot of these before when you were studying English, when you were wee nippers. But now that you want to go forward into the future with your English, you're going to need to improve your feel for English.
What level are these students, Gav?
These are A2+.
Right. Well, that's good to think about as well, because we do need to give the students the building blocks at the beginning, I think. But as they get along the road of learning English, they do know the rules. And it doesn't matter how many times you say that's a singular countable noun, you need an A or an an.
That's a part of the body. It must be the heart, the lungs, the spleen.
Mm-hmm. It's a job. You need to have an article before every job. It doesn't matter how many times we say it, they don't seem to remember to do it. So I think we need to find a different approach. Gav, what's the game?
The game has no title. I should give it a title.
Why not? Why not just make one up
I've got
right
it.
now?
The articles game.
Oh, wow. That's like when I ask my students, what's your team name? And they say Team A or Team 1 or I don't know.
Oh, well, that's a nice name. The I Don't Know team.
Yeah, and then we have the I Don't Know team and the I Don't Know 2 team.
I don't know either.
Which, you pick your battles, don't you?
Let's begin. I'm going to read a sentence to you, and then you have to tell me the sentence back, but putting in or removing the articles.
Is there always going to be a mistake?
There is a mistake in every sentence that I read to you.
So there are no right sentences.
Well, you need to make them right, Em.
Yes, but it's always got a mistake.
That's right. Number 1. Charlie couldn't find job because he was in the prison few years ago. Charlie couldn't find job because he was in the prison few years ago.
And this is a really good memory game as well. So I think it's wrong in many ways. I think it couldn't find a job because he was in prison a few years ago.
Wow, you found 3 mistakes then. So why did you say a job?
One of many jobs. Then we have prison, which is difficult. So when we're just talking about incarceration, crime, people go to prison.
That's it.
But if we're talking about which prison is he in, you can say he's in the prison in the city centre because that's a specific prison. And that is one of many prisons. So you could say he's in a prison. And a few years ago, well, a few years ago is a phrase that we use, a time phrase, a few, a couple, just is.
A few years ago. Very good. The second one, M, is Sally lives at top of block of flats in centre of the Madrid. Sally lives at top of block of flats in centre of the Madrid.
Right. So Sally lives at the top of a block of flats in the centre of Madrid.
Not the Madrid.
Not the Madrid. Never the Madrid. No. Not with cities or countries or any places.
Don't use the definite article with countries, Em?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm very sure. Except for some of them, because there's always exceptions.
And what do you say to your students when they say, which countries, teacher M?
It usually is a collection of countries or countries made up of states or groups of islands, for example. Gav, can you think of some?
I teach it as a country that has a political name. So...
Oh, doesn't every country have a political name?
No.
Okay.
As in a country with a political title like the United, the Republic of, or when we talk about groups of islands.
Right. So the UK, the USA, the Dominican Republic,
The Republic of Ireland,
the Seychelles.
the Canary Islands.
All of these fit that rule, that exception to that rule.
Well, it's a rule, it's an exception, it's a rule. Maybe it's both.
So definitely not the Madrid, not with city names. The top. So for positions, we use the top, the bottom, the left, the right. We always use the with positions or locations.
What are the prepositions with those?
At the top, at the bottom, on the left, on the right, in the middle.
Ooh.
We'll come to prepositions a different day, Gav. This is enough. A block of flats, like I said before, one of many block of flats in the city, probably. And the city centre, well, there's only one.
There is.
I think I want to turn. I think it's my turn. I'm going to say something now. You correct it. I've got 2 cars, Porsche and BMW. Porsche is much faster, but I usually drive BMW.
That was a long sentence, Em. Can I hear that again, please?
Yes, I've got 2 cars, Porsche and BMW. Porsche is much faster, but I usually drive BMW.
Right. Let me try, Em. I've got 2 cars, a Porsche and a BMW. The Porsche is much faster, but I usually drive the BMW.
Right, break that down.
So the first part is fine. I've got 2 cars. Now, a Porsche and a BMW, because I'm counting the cars, which is interesting because typically before brand names, we don't have articles. But here we're imagining they're individual cars and we're counting them. So a Porsche and a BMW. Now,
So instead of saying a car, you're saying a Porsche.
yes. Now, the second time I mention the cars, I will use the definite article the. The Porsche is much faster, but I usually drive the BMW because it's the second time I've mentioned this particular noun.
Yes. And we could even say the Porsche is the fastest if we wanted to use it in the superlative, which is quite nice.
If we had 3 things to compare or more, then I definitely would take that route.
Well explained, Gav. Very good.
Can I do one last one, Em?
For me, yeah, go ahead.
I met King of the England when I was in UK. I met King of the England when I was in UK.
I think it should be I met the King of England when I was in the UK.
You did that very confidently, Em, but can you explain why?
Why I met the King of England?
Why that is the correct sentence.
Oh, okay.
Have you met the King of England?
No, I haven't. I met the king because the king is the only one. It's like the sun, the moon, the king. There's only one.
Exactly. In this particular country.
Exactly. And the England, no, it's just England, even though it's the UK, Gav. And I always try and explain to my students the difference with the UK, England, the British Isles, but they do fit the rules. England is the country. We don't use the article. The UK is the political word for our nation, and the British Isles is a collection of islands. So it sort of fits.
That explains it perfectly.
I was in the UK, so it's England, but it's the UK. Can we do one last one?
Yeah, you can have one more.
Paul says all you need is love, but his friends say the money is more important.
One more time.
Paul says all you need is love, but his friends say the money is more important.
Now, Paul says all you need is love, but his friends say money is more important. Is that correct, Em?
That is correct.
Now, we don't say the Paul because we don't typically have articles before names. Paul says all you need is love. We don't say the love. It's definitely not countable, and it doesn't have an article. Love, war, famine, pestilence.
Peace. Positive things
Sorry, peace. None of them have articles before them. Unless we mean a specific love between two crocodiles.
Okay.
But his friends say money. No article with money.
Why?
For the same reason, it's uncountable. It never has an article before it.
Well, if
Unless
I'm
we
saying...
talk about the money that I don't have at the moment, then yes, a specific type of money. Maybe if we're talking in general, there's no article. Is more important.
Not the most important thing.
Well, if I'm comparing two things, then is more important. But if it's comparing more than two things, then it would be the most important. And then I use the for superlative adjectives.
Nice.
You are keeping me on my toes, Em. Now we're going to leave this activity behind and move onwards and upwards because we have so much to cover in our articles episode.
Where are we going now?
Em, I was so fortunate to attend one of Shikha's lessons with her amazing students, and I got to know them a little bit, and they got to know me a bit too. And I thought it would be a really fun thing to share some of that conversation with our followers of the show. So we can see how Shikha's students were perfectly able to use articles when speaking English themselves. Would you like to have a listen to some of that, Em?
This would be great. So was it an online lesson you were attending?
I did. I was a guest in an online lesson.
Wow, that's fantastic. I'd love to hear it.
So let's listen to some excerpts of the lesson and we can hear some examples of when and how to use articles. The conversation started with me and Shikha talking about how to English podcast. Good evening. Hello, Shikha. How are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
Very well, thank you.
Just wanted to know more about you. I told my students that you are an EFL teacher, and we really like all the podcasts which you have in Spotify, in YouTube, and my students also listen to them. They also have gained lots of knowledge by listening to your audios.
That's very kind. So as you could hear there, Em, Shikha mentioned an EFL teacher. I am one of many. Article with jobs. She also mentioned on Spotify and YouTube. Remember, typically we don't have articles before brand names.
And Shikha also said to gain knowledge, which is what we mentioned before. These abstract nouns like love and silence, success, laughter, honesty, education, friendship. We don't talk about the knowledge. We say just knowledge. Except when we are speaking very specifically about the knowledge of volcanoes, for example.
Yeah, or maybe the love some people feel for football is incredibly strong, Em.
Good.
Now let's listen to Munaf.
Hello, Munaf.
Nice to meet you.
So where are you, Munaf?
I'm from Guntur in Andhra Pradesh.
And how is the weather there today?
Yeah, good. My health is not good.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I'm facing a throat pain and also headache and fever.
I hope you feel better soon.
Munaf unfortunately mentioned he had a headache, a sore throat, and a fever, which is a shame.
I really hope he feels better now. I'm sure he does. So remember, you need to put the indefinite article before symptoms like headaches, sore throats, and fevers because they're countable. So you have a headache, a sore throat, and a fever.
But weirdly, we have the flu.
That's a weird anomaly, Em. This is me and Venkata.
What did you learn in your last lesson with Shikha? What did you learn?
Simple present tense.
Can you give me some examples, please? Tell me about your day. What's your routine?
I wake up early morning at 6 o'clock. Then I take my breakfast. Then I attend Python class. Then I practice Python relative topics and English topics.
Excellent. No article with breakfast. I take breakfast or I have breakfast. The same for lunch and dinner. No articles with meals.
And Venkata also mentioned that he attends a Python class where he studies. So it's one of many classes. Countable. Very good. And then he studies English.
Languages. Don't need an article.
You're right.
But if you're talking about nationalities, you could say the English love fish and chips.
That's also true.
Or English people. So it's like the English replaces people.
Nice. Now it's Melkit's turn.
I can see Malkit.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Please call me Gav.
Yeah,
So,
thank you. I live in Gurdaspur, Punjab, in India, nearby Amritsar. You know about Golden Temple?
Is it beautiful there?
Yes, sir. It's the most visited place in the Amritsar region. So, where are you from?
I am from the UK. I am from England, and I was born in the south of England, but now I moved to the north of England.
Thank you, Gav. Thank you.
Wow, there were so many articles in that part, Em.
Really, really good.
So I heard Gurdaspur, Punjab, near Amritsar. No articles there. Very good. Malkit also mentioned Golden Temple. Now, what's the rule here, Em?
Articles are used with temples, museums, historical monuments,
And buildings.
and buildings.
So what's the correct form?
The Golden Temple.
Yeah.
I guess it is a specific one, which makes sense.
I can mention a few more notable, famous, important places. For example, the Lake Palace in Udaipur, Rajasthan, built in 1746. The Taj Mahal Palace Hotel in Mumbai, finished in 1903. The Lotus Temple in Delhi, completed in 1986. So use the definite article with these, Em.
Yes, Gav. Malkit also mentioned the most beautiful place in the region, which, again, superlative, excellent, the most, the least, the biggest, the best, all of these with the definite article.
I mentioned the UK. As I mentioned before, groups of states, territories, kingdoms, republics, and groups of islands.
You also mentioned the north and the south. So we also use the definite article with regional locations.
I guess so. Sadir is next.
Hello,
Hi,
Sadia.
Hi, Gav.
Nice to meet you. What are your plans for tomorrow?
Tomorrow I have to go up.
To the office. And what do you do in the office?
There I will go and I will role and responsibilities. I have to do my work, like I have to interact with customers, problems I'm facing, and I have to take input from them.
Very professional.
He's going to the office.
The office, a specific office.
So we say the office, but we don't say I'm going to the work or I'm going to the home. For some reason, the office is maybe a phrase or an exception, because often we say I'm going home, I'm going to work, I'm going to school. But the office.
And Sadir has to deal with the problems he's facing, so these are specific problems that his company is dealing with. And here's Shikha again.
Are you taking offline or online classes?
All of my classes are online now.
Great. So sometimes
Yeah.
you don't get monotonous of taking classes every now and then.
That was a great question from Shikha. Actually, maybe sometimes my classes do get a little bit monotonous if I'm doing the same lesson every single time. But that's why I need to keep it varied and keep it interesting so that my students can enjoy themselves and I enjoy myself too. And we go on to say
English is very important, and even we practice on everyday English.
I
So-
practice every day. I listen to podcasts, I read, I listen to the news. All of these things help me learn new words every day. So even if English is your first language, you can still get better and better.
Yeah, that's true.
We all need to keep practicing our English. And practice English, no article. As you mentioned before, it's the language. We don't need to use an article.
now it's Mark's turn.
Is that Mark?
Yeah, Mark. Yes, yes.
Nice to meet you, Mark.
Yeah, nice. to meet you.
How was your day today? Did you have a busy day?
Yeah, I'm doing work right now.
What is your work?
I'm from IT background, so I need to manage all the people and I need to interact with the different people, different kind of people.
That's it. So we learned that Mark is from an IT background and works with different people. Not the people, but people in general.
But if you say about the people in my company are very nice, then it is specific. The.
And this is Pavani.
Nice to meet you, Pavani.
Nice to meet you again.
Pavani, tell me, what do you like doing in your free time?
Yeah, I like to listen songs.
What kind of songs?
I like to listen more God songs.
Okay, so you like religious songs. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yes.
very good.
Pavani describing her music tastes when we talk about general uncountable nouns. We don't need an article. I like to listen to religious songs and religious music.
Nice. And finally, here's Shikha and me.
Shikha, do you have any questions?
What do you know about India?
I do love Indian food. Curry is probably my favourite food.
Very good English, Gav. Same as we said before. When you're talking generally about something, I love food, I love music, I love
Good conversation.
speaking generally, no articles.
So to conclude, Em,
So next
Very
time, we are hoping to meet Em also with you. I hope you will be
I
joining
hope
us.
so. I will tell Em that I had a very nice time meeting everybody and talking to everybody.
Oh, that's so nice. And yes, I really hope to meet you too, Shikha, and all your class, because they are fantastic.
I had such a great time. So I must say thank you so much again to Shikha. Thank you to her amazing students. Go and check out Shikha's resources. She's on Instagram under English_with_Shikha. And on YouTube, you can find her at Shikha Habiswas 5157. Links in the show notes. And also, I'll add some resources in there too for our followers if they want to do any more practice or have a look at some of the activities we did today, Em.
Whew, I think I need a break now, Gav.
A break.
One of many. I hope. Actually, I haven't had many breaks today.
Oh, you need to take a break. All right, have a break, and I will see you for our December special show coming in 2 weeks. What's another word for 2 weeks, Em?
A fortnight, Gav.
See you in a fortnight, Em.
See you in a fortnight. See you in 14 days.